Alright, we're here for round 1 and we won the die roll, so let's take a look. And no Jace, but this hand is pretty good. We're a bit threat heavy. We have 2 Blighteds, a Glistener Elf, and an Inkmoth Nexus. But we also have a Brainstorm, so we can turn those into better spells at a later date. My plan here is to lead with Noble Hierarch, and then hopefully on turn 2 we can play like Blighted Agent and a Brainstorm. We might Brainstorm first, it just depends on what we think our opponent is playing and what he does to affect us. Now maybe one of the more awkward things here would be something like a Thoughtseize or even a Duress. A Duress from a Storm opponent would take our Brainstorm and slow us down significantly. We would have to probably just play Inkmoth into Glistener Elf Blighted Agent and just start trying to attack for 3 every turn. That puts our opponent on a reasonable clock, but doesn't kill them very fast, and something like Storm could win pretty quickly. But Flutterstrand, I mean, it could be any blue deck. Tundra is probably like a Plow deck. Ponder could be a number of things. Could be like a Stoneforge deck or a Miracle deck. Some Miracle decks play upwards of 4 Ponders. I know BBD is very high up on the card in the deck. Pardon me. Take a drink of water. Alright, chose not to shuffle. It's important to know. Now, we can't just play Blighted Agent. So the problem here is if he is Miracles, it's going to be super awkward if we just go Glistener Elf Blighted Agent. So I'm going to play this Brainstorm instead. I may not even play a Blighted Agent depending on what I Brainstorm into. I may... Alright, well, Glistener Elf seems like whatever, and the 3rd Blighted Agent seems like whatever, but maybe the fetch land is worse. So I think we're just going to fetch, play Blighted Agent, hope he doesn't have a Terminus. A turn 2 Terminus would be pretty awkward, but I don't think there's much we can do about it. He may not do it to play around Daze, unless of course he has like Force Will or something, but if we're afraid of the turn 2 Terminus, then we should be playing a different deck more than likely. The good news is, if we draw a Berserk or an Invigorate, our opponent is mostly dead. But main deck Power Blast, we don't see that too often anymore now that Treasure Cruise is no longer a card in the format. Alright, Force Will, it's not so bad. We'll tap these 2 things that we can't really attack with, hold up Force and Vines. Force was actually a pretty good draw here, since now we have 2 ways to protect this Blighted Agent. And even though we would be pitching a Blighted Agent to save the one in play, I think it's important to keep that one active, since it gives us the ability to attack right then and there. Now this is a tough one. I want to save this Force of Will for something like Dig Through Time or something like that. So we're actually going to let this one die. Hope we draw a blue card for this Force of Will so that we can actually do some... Ooh. Alright, well, we're going to get a little frisky here and play this Jace. And we have a Force backup, which is almost exactly how we drew it up. If it just stick resolves, we might play around Lightning Bolt and just tick up. But he's going to force it. And he is pitching Counterbalance. Alright, so I guess he is a weird version. But hopefully this sticks, since he is forcing and pitching a card. If he ends up forcing again... Alright, so he's forcing again, pitching a Snapcaster Mage. So we basically emptied his hand for this Jace. And we still have Vines, Inkmoth Nexus, and Noble Hierarch in play. So he's at a pretty... on a pretty reasonable clock. We can basically draw... Sensei's... Oh, so he has Sensei's top. That was his last card. So we have to play around Terminus if we can. It's a little awkward that he had double Force to stop our... Jace. If that had resolved, it would have been pretty bad for him. Alright, well, we draw a Glistener Elf. That's not terrible either. We can attack with Inkmoth. Hopefully he doesn't Terminus. There's not a lot we can do to play around it. We have to try to pressure his life total and hope he doesn't hit it. Now we can play this Glistener Elf here, which I don't hate. I don't love it. He could have been sandbagging the Terminus, but that's pretty greedy to do. So we're just going to hope he doesn't have it. He didn't have it in combat. Hopefully he doesn't have it now. If he does, we're basically... Even if he has Terminus at any point in the next few turns, that's pretty bad for us anyway. So, alright, well that's counterbalance. That's gross. Now at least if he has Terminus on top, then he has to get rid of the polluted Delta, so that's good. And if he didn't stack a 3 on top, Invigorate still kills him. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to main phase this Brainstorm, and what that's going to let us do is if he tops, then we're going to main phase the Vines of the Vastwood to, you know, draw a card or whatever, but he doesn't. He just has a Ponder on top naturally. We're going to activate attack for 2 and hopefully just beat him down with these guys and hope it's good enough. Next turn, there's a reasonable chance I just attack with only Glistener Elf and not Inkmoth, since he did just fetch. But if we're able to draw a way to pump our Glistener Elf by 4, this not a Vines of the Vastwood, we can threaten lethal next turn. So that's nice. He also may just have nothing. But for example, you know, if we draw another Brainstorm or Ponder or Preordain, we can lead with that. He may activate top to draw a card to put a 1-drop on top, and then in response to that, that's when we play and kick the Vines of the Vastwood. And that's kind of what we wanted to do last turn, but he just blind revealed the Ponder, or not blind revealed, but he revealed the Ponder that he had stacked on top earlier. Alright, well, we're going to play this Jace here, since we drew it, and he has no cards in hand, and hopefully he doesn't have a 4 on top. And yeah, I mean, I guess it might be a Terminus or something, but it can't be a Power Blast or even a Snapcaster Mage, so that's nice. So we'll draw 3 cards. I'm thinking it might be a Terminus, which I'm pretty glad we main phase there. So, alright, well the Noble Hierarch's not going to help us too much next turn, so we'll put that back on top first. We'll attack with this Glistener Elf, and depending on if he makes a move or not, we may go for the Invigorate. I really want to force him to have like a Vendilion Click, Swords of Plowshares, or something on top, but now that we have the Jason play, we're not really in any rush. And even if he has end of turn draw a card into Vendilion Click, and he's going to kill our Jace the Mind Sculptor, he would still be able to counter that anyway with the Invigorate, so it's a little risky. This is really the turning point in the game, because if he has Entreat the Angels or Vendilion Click just naturally on top and he's waiting to make a guy, he's going to be able to counter Invigorate anyway. And if we wait on that for next turn, we may be able to do some finagling with Invigorate plus Vines against his like activate top draw card. So I think we're going to wait, as much as I hate it. You know, it's possible I should have just jammed. And now that he's topping again, that's actually great for us. It also could have just been Terminus on top. And if it was Terminus on top, then using the Invigorate there would have gotten us hammered pretty hard. So now he drew a fetch land. He's going to top again and look for Terminus or Entreat the Angels or something like that. And we're probably going to main phase the Jace to try to draw Force of Will or something. But looks like he found something he wants to play right now. So he's going to draw a card. Play Brainstorm. So that gets him 1 card deeper. That's why he's doing that. So he draws the top card, puts the top on top. Now the Brainstorm lets him see the top and the 2 cards he saw originally. And he puts the 2 back that's not the Divining Top. Oh, Swords of Plowshares. Alright, well, he's probably got a 1-drop on top, and it's probably the top because he wants to draw the next turn, so I'm pretty sure he's just dead to the Invigorate plus Inkmoth Nexus. So let's go ahead and Brainstorm. Jace already feels amazing, by the way. I don't know if anybody else was thinking the same thing, but I guess we'll just keep the Vines and the Force of Will, just in case the top card is not that. Alright, we'll gain him some life, pump our guy. Now, if it's randomly 3 on top, we can still just kick the Vines of the Vastwood. He has to have a 3 on top from the Brainstorm, but I'm almost positive it's just the Sensei's top. And so we're going to let him crack. If it resolves and counters the Invigorate, okay, well, he decides to just let it resolve, I guess. So he got top on top. He could have shuffled it away, tried to hit a random 3-drop, but he was still pretty far behind. So in this matchup, our soft counters like Daze are a lot worse than they would be in other matchups. Invigorate and even Berserk are not phenomenal because they allow us to get 2 for 1 or even trapped under counterbalance sometimes, but they do allow us to combo kill on occasion. So normally what I like to do is trim like 1 Invigorate and 1 Berserk and some number of Dazes, and that gives us access to Sylvan Library, Seal of Primordium, Spell Pierce, and 2 Corrosion Grips. The Pithy Needle is also good. It's a newer edition, so I'm not as familiar with boarding. I think we can actually afford to board out the Ponder for the Pithy Needle, although it's possible that a Vines is worse. He does have a lot of, I guess, like Wrath type effects, so Vines is not great, but Ponder can potentially, draw us into more powerful stuff. So,
what are we playing against?
For those of you just joining, this is Jerry Thompson.
Hello.
Guest star. We are currently playing Infect against Miracles.
Okay,
and
so you're up a game.
Up a game. Jace is great.
Excellent.
Yeah, I drew the first one. He forced. I forced back. He forced again.
Okay.
So we 5 for 3'd.
Yep.
Or 3 for 4'd. I guess, yeah.
And then you drew the second one.
And then I drew the second one like 2 turns later. He had top counterbalance going. Ran out of cards. Never hit a Terminus, so that was good. We had a way to play around Terminus. Eventually, the Jace was obviously a great draw because we could put it into play, draw a bunch of cards, find Force of Will, and that protected us from future things that he could have played.
Right.
But he ended up just dying to the Invigorate that we had off of the first draw 3.
Okay, nice. Did you find that you were brainstorming a bunch, or were you like fate sealing?
Oh, I brainstormed every time.
Okay.
I only activated it twice, but it was great.
Okay, fair enough.
The first one was such a huge threat that he had to win the fight over it. His hand was very removal heavy, and he also burned a main deck Power Blast super early, and that gave us a window to eventually resolve the second one, awesome. Which was nice. This hand is absolutely horrible, but it has a lot of the tools to interact with him. Inkmoth and Pendelhaven are both pretty good. Corrosion Grip can kill like a Dividing Top, which their deck hinges on, but I don't think I really want to keep this hand, so we're going to pitch it. Two mana heavy.
So, okay. In those spots, I think you want to explain why, despite that hand having all the tools, is not good. And I think, like, you're so favored in this matchup just by having, like, a normal draw, right? That you can mulligan into something like this, and it's kind of awkward. You have force, no blue card. You don't have utility lands and whatnot, but...
Yeah, but, I mean, to be fair, this hand does put a lot of pressure on him with just the Glistener Elf beatdowns. Vines of the Vastwood can protect the second one, and any blue card we draw will allow us to Force of Will one of his more important cards in the next few turns. And luckily we drew the Blighted Agent. He's not going to have too many blockers. This deck usually plays like some number of Enduring Clicks, sometimes Snapcaster Mage. Well, it looks like he hit a Miracle. He's sitting there in the draw step.
Could have the bluff on. Did he have it game 1? Or
he
no?
did not have the bluff on
Excellent.
game 1. That's a weird thing that Moto does. It allows you to, I guess, bluff a Miracle by whenever you draw a card, it kind of pauses for a second.
Yeah. How do you feel about forcing that Brainstorm knowing that he has a Terminus, though?
Well, it could have been an Entreat the Angels.
It could have been.
But I'm okay. Just let it.
If he had Terminus, he would have cast it.
Yeah, I mean, that was also a great draw. So we're just gonna battle here with the Glistener Elf. We're just gonna react for the next few turns and basically just see what he does. So we're gonna play this Glistener Elf, and if he wants to, like, end of turn flip the top to cast Terminus, we'll just try to Spell Pierce it, and we'll fight the fight over that if we have to. If he just wants to plow or Terminus now, we can still Spell Pierce and Force. So we're in a reasonable shape as long as we don't lose the Force battle. Now, he could have a Spell Pierce of his own, or even Flusterstorm or something like that, followed by a Force of Will of his own, and then we're in a spot where we're getting 2 for 1 by the Terminus, and then trading evensies with like Force of Wills and such. But I think we just have to try to put pressure on him with the way our hand is set up right now. Alright, Spell Pierce resolved. Feels safe for a little while. Now that he has access to red mana, Pyroblast could mean that our Force of Will is not going to be great.
So I think Pendelhaven was a great draw.
Yeah, Pendelhaven was awesome. It's basically another Glistener Elf in this spot that doesn't make us more vulnerable to another Terminus.
So I think if he had a Pyroblast, he might have just like juggled the Terminus and waited to play his Volcanic Island.
That's possible. That's definitely something to think about. I don't really feel comfortable playing the Vines right here, even though it deals an extra 4 points. I kind of want to wait and just use it to protect one of my creatures from a Swords to Plowshares or something like that. I think it's reasonable to think like, oh, he didn't plow a guy here in response to the Pendelhaven. He probably doesn't have it, but with Sensei's Divining Top, the odds of him having a plow on the top 3 or even another Terminus in top 3, I don't want to lose another card.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's just safer to save Vines for the turn you're going for the kill, probably.
Sure. Also, by the way, didn't know Jerry was going to come upstairs and help me out here, so a little bit of a Jerry ambush.
I don't know. Todd has played this deck much more than me, so. Ooh.
2 Terminus, that's gross. Well, this game would have been significantly different if I kept my opening 7, because I would have had Corrosion Grip to stop his Sensei's Top from really digging him into stuff. I didn't even have like an early threat
to was so slow.
Yeah, but we're probably going to get Power Blasted here, but even if we didn't go for the Force of Will, he could Power Blast the follow-up Blighted Agent. So we're getting wrecked. Hopefully we draw something good here in the next few. A Brainstorm would be great.
Also Jace.
Well, Jace would be fine, but we still don't have the prerequisite 4 mana for it.
But, I mean, it gives you something to build towards, right?
Yeah.
Ew.
Berserk's not terrible. We can draw basically any Infect guy and now threaten lethal, which is nice.
Do you not sideboard out Berserk in this matchup?
I sided out 1 Berserk, 1 Invigorate.
Okay.
I also sided out the Dazes when I was on the draw. I think I may bring them back in on the play, since they do help us fend off Counterbalance, and if we're on the play, we can also counter turn 1 Divining Top, which is nice. But the 1 Berserk sometimes lets you bust through stupid guys like Vendilion Click. Well, here comes Vendilion Click. Gonna steal my Blighted Agent. That's pretty reasonable. Alright, well, he left open the red mana, which means he might actually have another red Elemental Blast or Power Blast, and he might actually let me keep my hand, and then when I play Blighted Agent, he'll just counter it. But we'll see. If he's afraid of the creature, he'll take it. Now, if we hit Inkmoth Nexus, and he does take the Blighted Agent, that's actually insane for us, since we do have the Berserk to trample over. Another cool play is that if he starts battling us with the Vendilion Click, if we don't... Ooh!
That's great.
Yeah, so we drew the Inkmoth. We're going to go ahead and play that, just kind of force him to react us. He can't really tap out for Jace anymore, or else he just dies to the Vines Berserk combo.
Finish your thought about Berserking his Vendilion Click.
So I was going to say, if we didn't draw a way to interact with, or to apply pressure on the board, what we could have done was cast Berserk to kill his Vendilion Click if he decided to start pressuring us with this. The Vendilion Click is one of his only ways to actually apply pressure to us, aside from Entreat the Angels or some massive thing like expensive thing like Jace or Entreat, or I guess that's kind of all the Miracle decks play.
Yeah, I mean, he could have like Stoneforge Batterskull or something like BB plays, but
yeah, BB
not very good in this matchup.
is alright. Well, we don't have enough mana to actually activate attack and then Vines and Berserk, so we're gonna Brainstorm to try to peel into some good stuff. And I mean, if we just draw an Invigorate, then we can just go activate. Okay, looks like a Snapcaster Mage plus red Elemental Blast. What we can do now, though, is we can play defense against the Snapcaster with the Inkmoth Pendelhaven, but that does open us up to Swords to Plowshares, which is a little awkward.
So if you had a land there, would you have just gone for it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the YOLO moment. I mean, he's got top active. I can't give him too much more time, or else, like, he'll eventually find a counterbalance and then kind of lock me out.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like things are not really getting any better for you.
Yeah, exactly. Like here, if he attacks with both, the odds of me like block Pendlehavening aren't super high. But if he attacks, it actually gives me more information because it leads me to believe that he probably has the Swords of Plowshares and he wants me to activate block. Whereas if he just holds back, that leads me to believe he doesn't have a Swords of Plowshares and he doesn't want his guy to get eaten for free.
Yeah, and then that lets you just make this suicidal attack where you kind of go all in, but now it's going to be kind of tough.
Yeah, now we basically just have to draw Invigorate, and then, well, okay, that's weird. Now I don't know what to do. Well, the Vines no longer protects from the counterbalance because he can just pop the top. So I think I actually just hope that he's a doofus. Just do this block. And if I get plowed, that's fine. Like I already prevented 2 damage. Doesn't really make much sense. It might have been a bluff attack. It's a really odd bluff attack. He also should have probably plowed before blocks if he was going to do that.
Yeah, I mean, like
ooh, no, he might also have... Is that Staticaster? That would have been gross. That happens to me a lot. I get Staticastered a lot when I play this deck. Alright, so what I can do here... That doesn't work.
Next turn, maybe.
Well, I was thinking about playing Noble, and then if he tops, I could activate and then Berserk, but that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah. Oh, you need 2 more mana still to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, back to last turn. That was a pretty bad bluff on his end, I think, because if the game situation is like, you know, the story he's telling is true, where he has a Swords to Plowshares, so he doesn't mind making that attack, it's like you're pretty much dead anyway, right? Like, he has counterbalance top, he knows you have 2 1-mana things, and he has a Swords. Like, there's basically no reason for you to not try and block there.
Yeah. So, here... Okay, so against someone who is very, I guess, practiced in this matchup, if I play Noble Hierarch, they're usually going to like try to counter it if they know that these are my last 2 cards. But you know, for people who, I mean, he's holding back from Dylan Click for a reason. You know, he's attacking with Snapcaster Mage, I guess, to do this weird semi bluff. But there's like, I would say there's probably like a 20% chance this Noble Hierarch just resolves, and if it does, that allows me to attack or animate Pendlehaven and attack. So, you know, he could just pop top and then I'm not going to do anything else. But he might, you know, spin top. If he hits a 1-drop, you know, whatever. If he doesn't hit a 1-drop, he might just let it resolve, and then I have a chance to actually start attacking for 3.
Yeah, and you don't lose much here because the Hierarch's not doing anything in your hand really anyway. So
exactly.
It's not like, you know, in a normal circumstance where if he doesn't have top counterbalance, you could draw Brainstorm and like Brainstorm it away because like he has top counterbalance, so he's going to be able to counter it anyway.
Yeah, so he's on the level. He's going to counter it. We're okay with that. He's going to spend more mana next turn to do some stuff. Hopefully now we can just draw Jace. I think I'll probably +2 myself if I do.
Yep, that's what I would do too.
And that way he can attack and kill with Click. We're obviously in a bad spot here, but we can basically draw Corrosion Grip at any point and unlock ourselves from this really bad spot. If we draw another land or 2, we can, you know, combo kill him on top of that. So
now it's interesting.
Yeah. So I definitely want to. So I'm gonna animate first. This could get awkward. Like, obviously, if he has a 3 on top to counter the Invigorate, we can't really attack. But what I can do is just play the Invigorate before I declare my attacks, and I guess I can Pendlehaven first also.
Well, you might not want to do that because you might want both green open. Like, say he goes for something like Swords, you can Vines it in response. Well, I guess, yeah.
Well, you could just top in response.
Yeah,
So.
I was thinking, like, maybe you can actually, you know, find some way to actually resolve Berserk this turn.
So what I can do, actually, no, I think you're right. So I'm going to Invigorate here, and now if he, like, flips the top to try to find, or to like, draw his plow in response. Like, if he just doesn't understand, like, how the stack works. So now I can Vines it here with the draw on the stack, because it's probably a plow.
Yeah.
But even if it's a terminus, he still gets rid of his Click. And this Vines is not doing a ton anyway. So we're just going to do this, and if this resolves, then I get to let all this other junk resolve Or actually, no, I don't get the Berserk. I probably should have kicked the Vines.
Yeah, because Berserk is still one.
Oh, I'm actually stupid. No, he just had Vines on, or he had swords on top, and I didn't realize it was going to get countered.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that's fine. Like,
yeah, there's not a lot I can do here. He had the quasi hard lock on me. Yeah, just dead. Yeah, I mean, he still had the counterbalance lock on me anyway, so we're going to scoop this one up, save some time, go to the next one, and try to get him while we're on the play.
Yeah, given the amount of stuff he had going on, there's like no way you were going to win that game. So I think like trying to pick and choose your spots, like that turn specifically, to actually try and kill him is pretty good.
Yeah. All right, so on the play here, we're going to actually get rid of the other Berserk. We're actually going to get rid of... Actually, I kind of like the 2 Vines. I think we're going to get rid of the Become Immense. Yeah. Doesn't seem like it does too much. We're going to bring back in at least 2 Dazes. Might want to get rid of another Vines for another Daze, since it can interact with a lot of his plays on turns 1 and 2, since his mana is going to be pretty taxed if he has an early Sensei's Divining Top, especially if he keeps spinning it trying to find some good stuff. I do think Daze is really good on the play in this matchup, but pretty mediocre on the draw.
Yeah, I think I want a couple. I don't know if you want all 3, though. Like, the games still tend to go kind of long.
Yeah.
Like, Vines has pretty good utility against his swords and stuff. Like, how much do you want all 4 forces or all 3 Dazes?
I think I want, if I'm able to stick a Jace or a Sylvan Library, having access to all 4 Force Wheels I think is really important. You need to be able to lock them out of like the late game Terminuses, the late game Snapcaster Mages, things that can really catch him back up if he's behind. We're not going to really be able to combo kill our opponent with this configuration. We're basically just going to have to nickel and dime him to death and hope that we are able to overpower him with our own Jaces, our forces, and our Sylvan Library.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I like that plan too much. Like, just like trying to plan for the late game against the deck with top and all that stuff just seems kind of bad to me. But
yeah, I mean, we could just cut all the Vines and just play 4 Invigorates and hope that like that's good enough in combination with like the Noble Hierarchs and stuff. Like, I don't mind that too much. I'm not really sure like how I'm supposed to approach this matchup now that I have access to 2 Jaces.
Sure.
Normally I would leave in like 1 Berserk, all the Invigorates, and like 2 Vines of the Vast Wood, and I would just like trim on some of the soft counters. But I think Spell Pierce is really good in this matchup since it can interact with top and counterbounce early on.
Yeah, Pierce is
Daze similarly.
Daze I don't think is the case though, even though you're on the play.
All right. Well, maybe we can do 3 Invigorate.
Yeah, I'm more fine with this.
Let's just get him. Okay, well, I'm okay just getting rid of the Invigorates, and we'll just play Vines as protection / pump. The game usually goes pretty long, so the kicker on Vines is not super hard to do. And when we have a window to kill him, I want to be able to kill him. So I guess Invigorate's the one. Berserk is a little more awkward because it just gets locked out by top counterbalance too often, whereas Invigorate X2 is almost always lethal with either Pendlehaven or a Noble Hierarch.
Yep.
Alright, well, this hand is the opposite of Goulet. So I guess we'll mulligan since we have no threats, no manipulation.
This hand is gas.
Yeah, this hand's great. We're going to keep this one. We're actually going to lead here with Glistener Elf over Noble Hierarch. That way we actually get to do 3 damage on turn 2 with the Pendlehaven and the Noble. That's also going to allow us to potentially Corrosion Grip on turn 3 or maybe Jace. Well, Force of Will pitching Snapcaster. That's aggressive.
I mean, it's aggressive, but it's like kind of telling for what his hand is, and I also think that's fine. Like,
oh no, I'm definitely fine with it. Yeah,
you're building up towards a Jace anyway.
Yeah, I mean, the fact Jace is a little worse after board in this matchup when he's already shown us multiple copies of things like Power Blast, but I should have probably left open the blue mana to threaten Spell Pierce, but it's not a huge deal.
Yeah, I'm not sure though. Like, if you get him to commit his mana to play something, like that's actually pretty good too. If you just draw land.
All right. Well, I kind of want to wait to cast the Jace, but I guess a lot can go wrong. It was really weird that he Force-Willed early.
Did he keep on his Ponder or no?
He shuffled on his Ponder.
Okay.
The fact that he shuffled on his Ponder, his hand is probably full of like counterbalances. He might even have another Force, and I'm okay with that. And this is probably going to get hit by a Red Blast at some point anyway. I lose like the potential to Brainstorm 1 time, assuming he like draws a blue source and then immediately casts, counterbalance or some such. But he had Terminus here. actually, and he's casting it, which means I wouldn't have been able to cast a Jace for at least another turn anyway. So I'm not unhappy with what's happened. Like obviously, so now he's stuck on 2. We need to draw something here. That was a reasonable something.
No more blasts.
Yeah, I think he's just gonna blast everything. Maybe he forced a Glistener because he just had like 2 blasts, or just had 2 force, or three force. Yeah. All right. Well, I really hope that he spends his next like. Well, he had another draw step, Terminus. It might have been Entreat the Angels, but I'm gonna assume Terminus. We have these Corrosion Grips kind of rotting in our hand.
But that's fine. That gives you so much protection against any of the scary cards you can play.
Yeah. Ponder here, gonna try to hit either the Sylvan Library. Ooh, a Jace is pretty good. We're going to shuffle away that Invigorate more than likely. We'll keep the Verdant Catacombs, put it into play, and just pass. Now, if he draws a land, we have to be wary of a Snapcaster Mage on the Red Elemental Blast. Although, if he just casts Counterbalance here, that's going to be great for us. Because we get to resolve Jace.
What's this?
I have no... Monastery Mentor. Oh, boy.
This guy's been watching Joe's stream.
Yeah, just the Joe Lossett enthusiast. All right, well, I guess we bounce it. Yeah, because he just gets to snap kill it otherwise. And if he has another Force of Will, we are dead.
Yeah, that's all 4 though.
Yeah, all 4 and another blue spell in hand. All right, we're gonna bounce it. Hope he doesn't have another land into some way to make a token, and then we're gonna try to brainstorm into some goods. Alright, that's another Mentor. I'm really curious what his last 2 cards in hand are.
I mean, we thought that one was a miracle, right?
Should we maybe just bounce it again? Oh yeah, it's probably... Another Terminus is likely, since he stopped on his draw step a minute ago.
You could lead by casting your Brainstorm and then figure out what you want to bounce.
Yeah.
Or whether or not you want to bounce.
That's reasonable. If it's another... I guess if it is Reb, then he would just cast... Might be like a random Spell Pierce or something? It seems weird.
Well, we just Brainstorm with Jace and it's kind of whatever.
We also just pay. Because it's only it's effectively a Spell Pierce, so we just pay 2. Still get the Brainstorm.
But then he gets a token and then...
Yeah, but he's going to get a token anywhere. Jace is almost certainly going to die.
Well, if you just bounce this thing, he doesn't get a token.
You mean main phase? And then cast the Brainstorm?
Yeah.
Nah. I think I'm okay. I mean, this is obviously, like, not a normal version of Miracles, and, like, this scenario, you know, I know one of the 2 cards in his hand. The other one is going to be pretty difficult to figure out. It could have just been a Swords of Plowshares, you know.
Well, you said he paused during his draw step, so his last card would have to be a Miracle.
Well, I meant, like, aside from the Flusterstorm that he cast.
Sure. Like cards that he's holding.
Yeah. Now, we also could gamble a little bit and then tick up the Jace on ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, we can get rid of one of these disenchants, play the Nexus, and if he doesn't have, like, he has obviously a Terminus in hand or an Entreat the Angels in hand that he can't cast without drawing a land.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, our Jace gets to survive for one more turn. We don't get exactly the same thing off as a Brainstorm, but it's kind of close because we're putting 2 dead cards back on top.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Fate Sealing yourself is like pretty underrated. Alternatively, you could just Fate Seal him and like try and make him not draw a spell, but
yeah,
I think Fate Sealing yourself is better.
Well, actually, it might not be, because if we hit a fetch land or like a Ponder or Preordain or something, that could be good. But I think I'm just going to gamble a little bit, and I think I'm actually going to do him and hope that he has a land on top, and if he has a spell on top, then I'm going to bottom it.
Okay, I mean, that's fair, but if it's a land on top and you have him keep it and his Miracle is Entreat, like, then you're in a pretty bad spot. But.
Yeah, but, I mean, if he's flooding out with a Terminus in hand, he's going to attack 3 at Jace,
and then we get to untap Brainstorm.
And then we get to untap Brainstorm again and maybe just kill him. You know, we get to see 2 unknowns, maybe find another Brainstorm, Ponder, Preordain, something in there. And it looks like we were right about the Terminus because he didn't main phase and Entreat the Angels. So he's going to only...
Why is the Mentor staying home?
Curious. I have no idea. Oh, maybe he was afraid of me activating Nexus and blocking and killing the Mentor with, like, Invigorate or something.
That's kind of wild. I don't know if you can afford to play around all that stuff when your opponent has a Jason play.
Yeah, maybe not, but I'm okay with it.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, this hand's a little bad. Now we can at least eat the mentor token or the monk token if he decides to attack. We have safety against a majority of things. Brainstorm. I think we actually just have to force this, basically just to keep him from chaining off his mentor.
Yep, I'm down.
And he may not attack with his mentor again. You know, he didn't last time, which was a little odd, but what are you going to do? You know, he's trying to play around a million pump spells that my deck normally has in it. Alright, well, we get to eat a mentor token.
I don't know, is like, would you rather just save the Jace and get another brainstorm out of it?
I think so, actually, because we...
end up killing his
oh, yeah,
mentor,
we
too.
actually killed the mentor. Yeah, that's actually reasonable, because at this point I have 2 dead cards on top of my deck that I can't really do anything about. I really need to brainstorm into a fetch land and actually find some action. And the 2 counters will kill this at the end of turn, so... We actually can gamble again, tick up on ourself, and hope he just draws a land. I think that may actually be the best course of action, because we don't... I mean, we can actually... If we brainstorm, no one creature is going to protect our guy from, you know...
Yeah, I mean, I like Fate Sealing anyway. You get a dead card off the top of your deck, so then you're drawing live for the next few turns. It's like very, very similar to brainstorming.
Yeah, I agree. Alright, so we'll get rid of that. Because there's no guarantee that we actually hit a fetch land in the next 2 cards that we don't know.
And you only have like 6 minutes left, so you might have to play a little fast.
Yeah, maybe. Alright, well, he drew a land. He can't main phase the Terminus to pump his guys, so we get another brainstorm out of Jace, which is great.
Well, he could. It would pump his guys.
It would technically pump his guys, but...
You could have been a bro and Pendlehaven one of his guys, too.
Yeah. I think I'm down to just let Jace die now that we have a fresh 3. Alright, so we get rid of a grip and a forest. I guess we could have get rid of the Pendlehaven, but...
I probably would have kept the grip over that, but I don't think it matters all that much.
Nah. Yeah, should have got rid of the Pendlehaven. Could have had a second grip. Jace is going to die. We really need to draw an evasive Infector real quick here. Another Jace wouldn't even be so bad. But alright, well, that's going to die. Hopefully he doesn't have a random 3-drop on top. That would be super gross.
Imagine how much your Jace would be rocking him if he didn't have that mentor, though.
Yeah, no kidding. If that were just like a Vendilion Click facing down my Jace.
Yeah.
With
when
I had Inkmoth, yeah, that would have been great. All right, well, we'll try to kill it so we can try to resolve some spells here in the future. I'm really hoping keeping that Pendlehaven on accident is not going to come back and bite me. I'm basically just trying to play really fast.
And he has a top on top too, so yeah, definitely want that second grip here.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, so we might end up losing this game because we shuffled away a second Corrosion Grip on accident instead of this Pendlehaven here. But trying to play fast when we're low on clock is definitely a thing. You want to always keep your pace of play up against Miracles because the games can go super long, be very tedious. I'm okay taking 4 damage here, I think. I don't really want to burn a Vines of the Vastwood just to kill a Monk token.
No, we're probably going to have to kill him in one shot.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Wish we had a grip.
Yeah, I'm feeling like a big doofus now.
We're so hell-bent on getting rid of all those dead disenchants. we succeeded, but...
Yeah. Kept a dead Pendlehaven instead, because we were playing too fast. Alright. Well, that was real good.
Yep. Generally the best card to draw.
Yep, that's why Jace is so good, I think. Alright, well. Well, Spell Pierce can counter Terminus. I'm not sure if he's going to just cast Terminus next turn. Depends on what he draws. He might go Brainstorm into hold up Terminus for 1, but I think it's worth it to just keep the Spell Pierce on the ready in case we try to kill him.
How many Glistener Elves are you going to play this turn?
Both.
Okay.
I just meant like keeping the...
Well, it just seems like you're going to be attacking with 1 a turn to get through his monks.
Yeah, maybe.
So maybe it's not even worth it to play the other one?
That's possible. I mean, at this point, I might just attack with both and Pindlehaven 1.
Just clears blockers out as soon as possible.
Yeah, because if I just attack with 1, he can just chump block and there's no harm, no foul for 2 turns. Whereas if I attack with both, I get to keep 1 guy.
Because you attack with 1 and then next turn 1 gets in.
Oh, that's reasonable. Okay. Well, he might actually just go crack cast Terminus because we've known he's had that for a while, but looks like he's just cracking to oh, Snapcaster Mage. All right. I guess this is going to be Brainstorm. Yeah, looks like Ponder is also another possible, but
yeah, I mean if he does have a miracle, he just has to put it back.
Yeah. We can actually make him shuffle away his Sensei's top, though, which is nice.
Yeah. Assuming he doesn't hit a land.
Sure, yeah. Playing as Miracles is so grindy. It's just taxing on the soul.
My issue with playing against them is that it always feels like you're so close to winning.
Yeah.
And then they always just like find that next card, you know?
Alright, well we're gonna definitely block 1. Even if he has some way to pump him again, that's fine. We get to eat a token. He's likely going to Terminus on our upkeep, but he might wait to see if we try to play something else. I assume upkeep, but he's gonna cast it. We're gonna Spell Pierce it, and that's gonna force him to shuffle away his top, which is good for us, but we're still on the back foot. Now if we just draw the other Jace, that would be a Gassy DI Goulet, not high.
No, we've gone through both, right?
Oh, have we?
Yeah, you blasted the first one.
Oh, you're right.
You can find Sylvan, you're kind of low, but
yeah, I mean Sylvan will at least act like a quasi Sensei's top, though.
yeah.
If only this Vines was a daze.
Womp womp.
Now we'd still be in trouble.
Well, yeah. Board's back to stable. Hopefully he doesn't have a top.
Yeah, if he has another top, that's just real bad for us. Usually you want to wait on Brainstorms to get max value, but we're in such a predicament that I think we just have to do it. Well, we might actually just combo kill him here with Noble Hierarch. We have currently 9 damage between Vines and hard casting Invigorate. Is it 14? Seems unlikely. Yep. Brainstorm locked ourselves, but could have just had it so the counterbalance countered the Brainstorm, so I think it's worth casting in that spot anyway. Chose to not shuffle. Probably dead. Bendelling click? Alright.
Please take something.
Yeah, no kidding.
Please be scared of our useless pump spells.
These are the situations that I really hate. Just like, I feel so dumb for earlier not keeping the corrosion grip that we could have killed that top like 3 turns earlier. He wouldn't have been able to play Terminus against us. Terminus us. That sounds really weird. He wouldn't have been able to play Terminus against us without having to spend all of his mana. Or at least like taking 1 shot from the guys while it was floating on top of his deck from the Brainstorm. But now we're likely going to get beat down by this Vendilion Click. We really need to draw Ink Moth, I guess. Huh.
God, it's so sick that this happens like every time, but you're still going to lose.
Oh yeah, there's no way I'm going to win the game. It's a pipe dream. I'm going to have to kill him with actual damage. I have to trade off Ink Moth here. If he has Plow, I have to hope he doesn't have a 1 drop on top of his deck. When are they going to make Exalted for blocking? I think that would be very useful here. I don't know, but it's really weird. It's really dumb. I can activate Inkmoth Nexus in response to the Brainstorm and then give it protection from Plow, but it just seems real dumb.
Yeah, I don't like that. That just deters him from attacking for a turn. Doesn't actually solve your problem.
Exactly. We have so little time left. Shuffle, 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 shuffle. Not shuffle. Darn.
Maybe he misclicked. Ooh,
Dead.
I doubt he misclicked.
Yeah. Kept that top. Now we're dead. Can't resolve a spell anymore, boys.
I feel like Ponder is good in Miracles.
No, it's great. BBD's played it a bunch. He swears by it. I personally haven't played Miracles too much, but I just assume it's good. I mean, I think I just have to block here.
I do too.
Yeah, I can't really burn my vines. He'll just draw a card in response, and we're back in the same position. So I'm just gonna beat down with Nobly.
We are vines rich.
Yeah, and this is exactly one of the reasons why I don't like vines in high numbers in this matchup, just because they can rot in your hand in the early turns of the game, because you're forced to like tap out to like play your threats or brainstorms or draw spells,
To be fair,
and then you get brainstorm locked. To be fair, hush.
And then vines would actually be okay, but
Would it?
we're one short.
Alright, well, we're gonna do this.
Do we want to wait?
Well, maybe, but
YOLO, roll tide.
cast brainstorm in response? Alright, fine.
Probably wants to put a terminus back or something.
Sure.
Who knows?
I have no idea.
When I have counterbalance in play, I'm generally pretty patient with my brainstorms. Rats.
Okay.
Please give me a real card.
Please give me a corrosion grip that I shuffled away 40 turns ago. I'm
Something
stupid.
with a text box, please. Aw, what a jerk.
Pyroblast.
That ain't good.
I can't do nothing.
You did.
I know.
Got played out though.
Well, if I draw a corrosion grip, I'm still dead. So, there's that.
There is that.
It's always that. Well, what I can do is...
Hope he doesn't know what Vine's kicker CMC is.
I don't think that works. Because he's still just going to leave a 1-drop on top.
Yeah, but he might think it's 2 casting cost.
I doubt
Has
it.
that come up in the match yet?
I don't think so. It might have, but I doubt it. Alright, I can draw another Inkmoth Nexus. I keep saying, oh, I can draw Inkmoth Nexus, and I do.
To delay this game for 2 turns.
Yeah.
Pooh.
If I draw on that last turn...
Might have had a shot, but you're still probably dead. Let's be real. Cast Vines with kicker, see what happens. It's the only way to win.
Actually, I'm going to float a green. Play this. Keep this one.
Oh, no, you're still short.
Whatever. I might not be.
You might not be?
I don't know. Or, I mean... I don't know what you want from me. I mean, I don't...
I did the math.
I did a lot of math in the first game, but in the last 2, it's just been like, oh no, I'm dead.
Jace is great, but I died anyway.
Yeah, Miracles is pretty tough no matter what you're playing. The deck is incredibly flexible.
They said it's supposed to be an easy matchup.
Who said? Tom?
Tom and everyone who watched Tom beat up on people playing Miracles.
Well, I mean, Tom also has been destroyed by BBD the last 3 times they've played or whatever, so...
There is some truth to that.
So I think if you're playing like BBD's version, you might have a little bit easier time against Infect. Come on, dude.
Rats, you figured it out.
Alright, well, we're done. Alright, well, we'll be back for the next round in just a minute. As you can see, Jace was great that match. If I had not had Jace in my deck, then I probably would have died miserably. If some number of Vines or other cards might have been Dazes, I could have gotten him potentially. But we obviously need a better sideboard plan versus Miracles, which we will discuss later on in the outro.